Hello and welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to be discussing ways in which you can improve and upgrade your college experience. If you follow the methods in this video, you will get a better GPA and you're also going to have a better time in college. The first method I'm going to be discussing in this video is psychology. Now, using psychology to understand your peers and to understand your teachers is one of the best ways to excel in college. Particularly your teachers we're going to be talking about first. When you connect with your teacher and you send them a message telling them who you are, what your expectations are, and you message your teacher and you communicate with your teacher, you're going to have an easier college experience. Another thing you can do that really helps is to read their syllabus. Often the syllabus seems long and boring, but if you actually go into the syllabus and you read exactly what the teacher expects, how strict they are, and what they write, you can actually find out a lot of information about your teacher, and this helps you to understand what exactly they're looking for. It's not just about having good papers, it's also about what the teacher wants. If you write exactly what the teacher wants and what they're looking for, and you look for sample essays, for example, a lot of teachers have sample essays, they like those essays. So if you can understand what it is that they're looking for, and you connect with the teacher knows your name, what your expectations are, and what their expectations are, you're going to have a much easier college experience. The next section I'm going to be speaking about is arguably the most important, and it's something that I don't see enough of out there. How to study properly in these three ways. The first thing I'm going to be discussing is flashcards. Now, you probably heard of flashcards, but it may be that you don't actually study them properly. You see, some people, they take flashcards and they cram as much information as possible and they go over them a million times. This can be effective, but it's not a very good use of time management. Instead, what I recommend is taking someone else, a friend, or using a program online and using flashcards that are not only randomized, but also someone else or something else is involved. The reason this is so effective is that just cramming information and going over it again and again, your brain actually tends to adjust a little bit to the information and you actually start to go a little bit onto monotone, and it doesn't help you. In order to soak in the information, it's far better to get something else or someone else involved. Use the flashcards, but use them properly. Also, don't cram the flashcards in 8-hour sessions. Use 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there, while you're doing dishes. Distract yourself while you're learning the information, because then it will soak subconsciously as well. So don't cram 8 hours, do 20 minutes at a time, take a little break, 20 minutes again, and the flashcards will be much more effective. The next thing that I use to study information that I have to read from a book is a really interesting trick, and I've never seen anyone really talk about it. The way I do it is as follows. I take a book and I open it up to the chapter that I need to learn about. Then I skim the information. I don't read it fully. I just skim in a couple minutes, just look over the sections, read the bold writing, and just try to understand a general idea of what is discussed in the book or the chapter. Then I read it much more carefully and much more slowly to actually gather the information. And I take notes in this section. Finally, when I'm done that and I think I know the information, I go back and I skim read again. Then the next section is important. I then take a fresh piece of paper and I write a summary of all the things I learned about in that chapter. If I don't feel like I know the information well enough from the summary without looking at the book or the chapter, I go over and I start the process again. I skim read, just getting the general idea of what the chapter is about. Then I read it fully and in detail. Then I skim read again, and then I write another summary. If the summary doesn't come out well again, I restart this process. While it seems like this is a bit of a hassle and it takes a little bit of time, actually, this is an incredibly effective method in order to gain the information you need from the chapter. Just reading it again and again and again and again is not an effective method to actually soak the information that you're trying to gather from the pages. The third and final method for practicing for tests and getting good grades is practice tests. This has actually been proven to be much more effective than almost any other method. They've even done studies where they show that people who took practice tests before a test actually did better on that test than anyone else across the board. Which means that before any test you take, you should go online, search practice tests and the subject you're taking. You're going to find tons of resources, and taking that practice test will help you get better grades on any test taking that you have. The next thing on our list might seem pretty obvious, but it's something that's really important. Who you surround yourself with is who you become. If you surround yourself with people who are partying and having fun, you're going to party and have fun, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, if you surround yourself with people who are laser focused on getting good grades, you yourself are going to have an easier time getting good grades. Not only will you have great people to study with and partner up with, but also this energy is going to be infectious for you and you're going to be able to stay more focused. So have some friends that are nerds, have friends that are focused on getting good grades, and this is going to help you out as well. The next one pains me to see people do it wrong so often, and that is cramming. Before a test, they haven't studied, and they know they have a test tomorrow or the next day, and so they study for 8 hours straight trying to cram the information into their brain, and sometimes they do get good grades on the test the next day. However, there's an issue. Most of the time, you'll have another test in the future that covers the same information, and if you want to actually learn the things you're learning in college, it's really important not to cram. Instead, you want to take sections of time, 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there, and start earlier than you're ready. For example, if you have a test in 2 weeks, practice for 20 minutes a day, every single day on that information. Use the methods I discussed before to study, and you're going to have a much easier time for far less time. You're going to save yourself a bunch of time and get better grades, and then when the final comes around, you'll still remember the information instead of having to cram 8 hours all over again just trying to remember the information. Our brains don't work that way. If you cram information right before a test, you might remember it for the next time, but you're not going to remember it for the time after that, and you're certainly not going to gain information from your college experience. Do not cram. Learn how to do it properly. 20 minutes in sections. Take a break. 20 minutes again. Look over it. Skim. Use the methods I discussed before, and you're going to have much better grades and a much better retention of the information. The next method on our list is a bit of a psychology trick, but it also works because of how our brain works. When you sit in the front of the classroom and you participate, you actually actively raise your hand and answer questions and try to gain information by talking and participating in the classroom whenever possible. This means that not only does the teacher see you and hear your voice, which is psychologically beneficial to you, but also it means that you're keyed in, you're locked in, you're listening to what your professor is saying, and this is going to be beneficial to you in the long run. Not only does your professor remember you and is more likely to be helpful to you in the future, but you are actually keyed in, you're locked in, you're ready to go, and you're going to be much more interested in the classroom. And even when the classroom is boring, if you're actively trying to participate and looking for openings, you're going to have a better time. Now, this doesn't mean to be annoying and constantly raise your hand and answer questions, but it does mean that occasionally try to get involved in any way you can. This also applies to Zoom. If you're in Zoom calls, if your teacher asks for someone to answer the question and nobody's answering the question, this is your opportunity. If you answer the question and you participate, no matter how awkward you feel, you already got a bonus brownie point in your teacher's mind. Trust me, and this is going to help you throughout your experiences in college. Finally, and most importantly, is taking care of yourself. If you enjoy the journey, you're going to have a much happier success at the end. No matter what you do, if you follow these methods, you will succeed at the end. But you want to enjoy the journey as well. University can be fun. Make sure that you take care of your sleep needs, you eat healthy, you exercise, and you hang out with your friends. That means taking breaks between studying and taking your time, not stressing so much. And this is going to help you have a much better experience. I hope you enjoyed this video. I worked extremely hard on it. Give it a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you want to see more of this type of content. Thank you so much, and have an amazing day.